Well, the playoffs got underway in a big way. Slice bread Joe Logano gets it done at Atlanta, but a lot of stuff to cover. And arguably the world's greatest driver is going to join us right here in the Nonsense Garage. Kyle Larson coming in to chop it up with us today. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild stacking pennies.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
All right, guys, we're in it. Stacking Pennies playoff edition, race number 1 underway. And Joe Logano gets it done. But I'm Corey LaJoy here, P15 finisher. Decent day for our Gamebridge group alongside, where'd y'all finish? Second?
I thought we finished second, but then I looked at it and we finished third. So another photo finish with Daniel Suarez.
Problem is there was one car in front of you.
Yeah.
2 cars.
Joey did a good job, dude. It actually, when I look at it from 40,000 feet for a Penske group, it was perfect. We almost maximized our day. Won the first stage, second in the second stage, and then we got wrecked. A 17 had a problem. I didn't really get to see. It looked like a little bit of a Larson-esque.
Well, we will get to that in a second, but just
so we fixed the car. And
hang on. Let's just go ahead and run the tape of the Blaney incident, because if this is how lucky you guys are going to be in the playoffs, you guys are looking pretty good, because anything goes minutely different in this incident here with the 17 wrap in the bottom. There's a junction where off of 2, there's a patch of asphalt, big bump. The 17 was really leaning on the right rear tire, hits the bump, gets under the stop, and gets into the left rear of the 12. The 12's right rear bumper catches him from spinning all the way out. Doesn't hit the tire. Comes down. The 19 could have ended the 12's day by driving into his left front, but yet drives into his door. No suspension damage for the 12, and he comes back and rebounds for a top 3 day. Unbelievable. Right there. If the 19 is one more foot back and hits him in the left rear tire, turns you into the inside wall, it's over. Game over. Or if you hit the right rear tire on the outside fence, your day's done there too.
Yeah, what I would say, then they come in.
Look at that.
Dude, I was stoked.
Some X-Flex on that unit.
I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit here. I was stoked because
you never do
that morning I went and
by you tooting your own.
Like we went through all of our I went through all our bare bond stuff, made sure everything was kind of set up, cut off all the old stuff. Even went through all the razor blades, made sure they were sharp. Yeah, just in case. And you know,
playoffs, buddy.
It's nice when you come in and Raymond Fox and Brett McCutcheon just patched her up. Center Raymond Fox.
Do they brake clean it?
They brake clean it. They got it right. But Fox is so funny. So we're on that open mic, and he tapes it up, and he's like, "All right, good luck," and he just steps back over the wall. Like he's literally said, "Good luck." And Blaney carved, as in the words of the famous Teddy Christopher, frickin' carved their eyeballs out, dude. Yeah, he was winning.
Well, let's call it what it is. The Team Penske brought some rocket ships to the racetrack this weekend. Atlanta seems to be, those guys are in the top 5 in qualifying, but not only are they fast, they handle. They can wrap the bottom, they can run the top. Handling was a large issue seems like to break into that top 4 bubble, top 5 bubble was hard for a lot of guys. But once you got into that, you can kind of maintain. But beyond that, the turbulent air was brutal, and a lot of guys, myself included, I couldn't turn a 40-acre field all day.
So that's where I would say, when you went back, you said if that's how lucky we're going to be. I just want to touch on that for a second, because that's been the biggest thing that that's been our saying all year, is like forge your own horseshoes, right? Even if we get wrecked there, we've already got 19 points and a stage point on the day, or in a playoff point on the day, right? So like that, you have to create your own luck. And even if we got wrecked there, we're still in a good position to move forward.
Yep.
So, it helps that we didn't get wrecked and he drove back up and
had a great day.
Pushed our teammate to the win and finished in the top 3. Instead of being plus 30 or plus 45 or whatever, plus 25, we're still good. So it's creating those creating that luck yourself. That's kind of what our team has been harping on. But man, the 11 team had a rough go, huh?
Did they ever come out and say they had an issue in qualifying?
I think they had plug wire issues, and I think they fixed it on like 3 other cars.
That 11 car was a turd, buddy, on Saturday.
Did he ride back there on purpose?
He said he did. I listened to his post-race interview, said he was going to have a 20-point day. That was his goal, which would have been 15th to 18th on the day with no stage points. I believe we finished 15th and got 23 points. So it obviously didn't work for him.
How many points did he get?
Well, he got crashed, finished probably last car in lead lap or something like that. Not enough.
Whoever the 78 was real nice to him because they were limping to the line and the 78 like lifted for him.
Well, I believe at that point, it's when the caution comes out, they kind of figure out where you're at.
Do they freeze it?
It's not getting to the start-finish line.
They, man, I feel like that's a tough way to look at it, but you know how it's going to be.
Starting that deep, Toyotas have not had speed at the speedways. It didn't seem like any Toyota could really drive into the top 5. We saw the 54 get some track position and kind of maintain it late, but some issues for a perennial championship 4 favorite in Denny Hamlin in qualifying. At least my man, I kind of was chuckling because, that's like the crew chief's thing. If they see the driver not holding their hand out the window, I feel like we could have got a little better if you weren't holding your hand out the window. My man was 2 seconds off the pace, holding his hand out the window. That's the only thing he could do, and the thing was slow.
It's a rough day for him, and he was, look, we can cover it now, we can keep going, but a lot of news around Denny Hamlin on the charter stuff.
I don't know enough to really speak on it, to really touch on it, but when 2311 and Front Row are the only 2 teams holding out and everybody else has signed a deal and say, all right, well, we're done fighting. We got 9 weeks left in the year. We want to make sure our business plans are set for the next 7 years. And, hey, maybe making $5 to $6 million a car for the next 7 years isn't too bad of a thing. They maybe conceded, just like any good negotiation. If you feel like you're a little perturbed with me and I feel like I'm a little perturbed with you and you sign a deal, that's a good deal. And I think that's where the teams are at currently, except for 2, one being Denny. And he's being very outspoken as to what the holdups are, I guess. I don't know. I hadn't really read too much up on that, but it seems a little bit contentious.
The fact that Jennifer Iyer put out that any team that did sign it got like bullied into it. I was like, I don't think NASCAR bullied Rick Hendrick and Roger Penske and Richard Childress. I don't think that that's a weird way to put it.
I don't think Jim France is holding their hand, making them put ink to paper.
But, if you ever watch what's the movie about Michael Jordan and the brand when he built it with Nikes?
Air.
Like it's really important that he owns his rights and that, there's a lot tied up in it. There's stuff. There's so much stuff in it. But that being said, when I come in here, I'm in the playoffs, right? My team's in the playoffs. I'm the front tire changer. I don't have a huge role when it comes to a broad scheme of the team. But when I come in here and do a podcast, it's like, hey, is that a distraction? Right? Sure. Like, Denny got asked, like, is this a distraction? No, I separate everything. But the minute that anybody smells a bit of weakness, like a day like that, the first thing people say is, oh, it looks like he's distracted. He's worried about charters. He's not racing the car.
It's been like that from the day we started racing around the beaches of Daytona.
Yeah.
If you're not running good on the racetrack, everything else that you're doing in life, right, wrong, or indifference, is a distraction.
Yes, so that's like something he's got to navigate, just extra noise around. This is why Denny Hamlin's not a champion. Like that's the stuff. I'm not saying that, but I just hear it coming. And
has the 11 team lost the magic?
The Magic Men. It's just magic. That's why I hate that, man. I don't mean pile on Chris Gabehart, but that's why I hate those terms. Like, it's just magic. I don't know, man. It's got a lot of good people. We just got to harness it.
I think it's easy for me to say because I'm Monday morning race car driving here, crew chief, and I think momentum and magic could probably be classified in the same thing. But momentum is hard to get. When you have it, you can ride it, but it seems to be easy to lose.
Success in anything is most of the time, long-term success in anything is just dirty hard work.
That's it.
Right? And you've got good people and hard work.
Yep.
I think that's why earlier in the year,
and we've seen that 11 team be successful at that for the better part of a decade now.
They have great people. Denny Hamlin's a great race car driver. Just, if the chinks in the armor show up at the wrong time of the year, who knows? Denny could still win the championship. He's still in +2. It's just, the just thinking around him, and the aura around him in the playoffs is this, right? You start the playoffs with being 2 seconds off the pace. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, the general consensus in the industry is like, yeah, that's what happens to Denny.
It's just confusing to me where, like, those cars are on the chassis dyno. Like, those cars are prepared to the thousandths of an inch of underwing scans and Hawkeye scans and ferro arm on the setup plate and trying to get every ounce of horsepower out of that thing and torque, and you go and have an issue like that.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
Do you think Mike Helton's up top in the little booth turning the knob down like we're at K1 speed? I don't know.
That's what everybody says.
That stuff doesn't happen.
Mike Helton's retired, dude. Don't put that on him.
He's still around. He still knows what's up. Also, I did ask him, Mike Helton, by the way, I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second. I did ask Mike Helton to be an Indian giver because the second year we did the Kickball Classic, I asked him to be the trophy presenter. And I got him a blue jacket with like 53 and Helton on it. And I asked him if I can get that jacket for the studio. And he said, absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
I said, I know you probably wear that thing a couple of days a week, but could I get it back? And so that'll be one of my prized possessions for sure.
Yeah.
Mike Helton signed jacket. Nonetheless, let's get back to the actual race, shall we? So first incident, and probably the one that most everybody's talking about, is that 5 car running P5.
Oh.
Large crash.
At first, when I saw this angle, and I saw it was blue and white, I thought it was us. Because our radios were kind of messing up.
Dude, huge crash. Oh, my Lanta. We will ask him if he was wearing a mouthpiece sensor. I'm curious what the number is on that. They probably don't have it yet. So let's touch on that a little bit, and we're going to hear from the man himself who was along for that ride. Let's listen to the audio here. This thing just snaps to the left. Watch for the in-car camera. If you're watching on YouTube, then the 14 is coming 180 miles an hour, can't see through the smoke, and so smash! And absolutely demolishes that HendrickCars.com Chevy.
And his own car. That's 2 playoff contenders.
Rips the left front right off. Here you go. Watch this thing snap. Oh, dude. That makes me hurt. Just watching. Oh, no. Oh, so 2 things there. One, you can't see. You don't know which direction that car is going. You would assume that it's fading down to the bottom due to the banking. But that thing it busted the oil cooler. So oiled it down a whole streak. So he got in the oil, hit the brakes, and essentially sped up into that 5 car. Terrible break for Chase Briscoe, Southern 500 champ last week. This sport, buddy, will do it to you. Penthouse to the house, unfortunately for the 14 car, ended his day early. But let's rewind it back. So we have the Penske teammates, the 12 and the 2 leading, and they're in a funky, line, if you will, with the 12 faded to the right, with the 2 showing a left front headlight. And with these cars going that fast, with a big blade on the back, they're very sensitive to turbulent air. So the cleanest air you're going to get is obviously if you're leading, and then progressively worse air as the cars are spread out. But when you're third, the air is pretty much still fairly clean. But when those 2 cars staggered like that, it puts the 5 in a really, compromised aero position. And the worst position that you can be in this car is with the right side headlight tucked out from the guy in front of you, because it's like you lose all the left side diffuser, which is all your rear downforce. So you get a bunch of right front headlight, bunch of front downforce, and you lose all your rear and all your side force this car's making. And we all know Kyle Larson is on the tire of max grip every lap of every freaking run, every racetrack that we go to. So when you have a instantaneous change of downforce like that, that right rear is already on the edge of chattering. It breaks loose. It reacted as though the right rear tire went down. I think Kyle even said on the radio he had a right rear tire going down. Maybe that was the case, but I think that it was in a bad aero spot, squeezing a tire for all it's worth, and one little slip, buddy. You're hauling ass at Atlanta, and I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's coming to the studio today. Freaking huge impact off the 5, and I'm not sure that's how they wanted. I'm sure that's not how they want to start their playoffs.
Absolutely not. That's never how you want to start the playoffs for them or the 14. Man, that's a big lick. But, you were, man, there was a couple different instances where you were in some precarious positions. They said they got your in-car camera.
Bro, when it was 3 wide, 4 wide, like pace lap style at 185 miles an hour, you're just like, every lap I would like reach on the belts, like, oh man, one little puff of smoke and we're all going to be in this thing.
Man, there's Brad too.
And there's Brad.
He's
you're
tough
always
on
a little
super
nervous. I mean, you were doing all you can here, like the things pushing, chattering your back. There's no good aero spot to be. Trying to figure out where to go. We're going to jam the middle here. There's some asphalt here. I'm going to try to slide past me a couple guys. And you're passing some cars, and you're like, surely I've got to be on the backside of the top 10 here. Then you start looking up, and you're like, no, I'm like 24th, racing my ass off, waiting to crash. With the sun setting in turn 1, your windshield sand blasted, you can hardly see where you're going. And there's also 32 other crazy guys that are around you doing the same thing. It was freaking intense. I wish our car, we just could not get the thing to turn. I couldn't really run the bottom well, couldn't stay in the fuel. Some guys were making the top work, but once the end of the race started coming down, guys that could run the middle and run the bottom seemed to be the ones that could kind of make, hey, the 12, the 2, the 22, obviously, kind of continue to make their way back towards the front.
Even though our car was fast, like, he would have to island hop. Like, he would get somewhere and be stuck there for 3 or 4 laps. Like, he was stuck in between the U, the 47, and the 6 for a while. And he was, like, making it work. And you were just, like, figuring out your car had to be fast enough probably to make the move. But, like, he would get up, like, run the top and then kind of plug the middle. And I was watching him like, dude, even though our car was fast, Blaney did a hell of a job. But he did talk about how on edge the cars were all day. And that's one thing everybody said was they were just wanted to be tightened up. Was that kind of a... But then I saw, like, the 99
plowing.
Was tight on the bottom.
I was plowing.
You just couldn't make time.
No.
So there was a...
So the amount of throttle I can put was just how much the right front would go until it just got the death push, like turn the wheels as much as you want, and it would just drive it straight.
And everybody had a common rear suspension.
All the rear pickup points are the same, but you could run, if you wanted to, rear bar, front end suspension, front end geometry is all open.
Open, yeah.
So you can do whatever you want to do there. So there's still, I mean, you could change just the pitch of the car, nose down, nose up, and change the handling of the car completely too.
I saw the 17 behind us was doing some front rounds. They were having a rough go at it. And I saw Matt McCall. I went down to the
6.
Yeah, I went down to the 22's box to help them tear down while they were in victory lane. I said, "How'd you make out?" He said, "Not worth a damn. Hopefully they let us come back tomorrow and finish up."
I love that. I use that a lot.
He said that they had a rough day. I didn't realize they had a rough day, but it seemed like they couldn't get past that top 10 bubble.
Yeah, it's stuck.
One thing that didn't stick was this Walmart sign, and Jeff Gluck is pissed about it. I know
he?
that. That's what when I listened to the teardown, he was mad about it.
I feel like Marcus has some little thing up his sleeve every week where it's just like a little button, like, hey, we're coming down to it. Let me just hit this little button and pop this Walmart sign off.
Where did it come from?
That's not a wall sign. That's a. Let's see. Here.
Oh,
up top.
Oh, it delaminated.
Yeah.
Delam.
Well, hey, I feel like there's a cable there. You can just yank it. Like, we need a yellow here. We're coming down to it.
Oh man, you are really
into this
fueling the NASCAR conspiracy
I'm
theories
really into
today.
The conspiracy theories.
But that changed the complexion of the race because everybody's. So the 50 was it the 54 and the 23 that stayed out, and Blaney was on the radio like, "What are we doing? Am I saving or not?" And Hassler was like trying to get him info. And he's like, well, the 54 and the 23 stayed, so they have to pit again. So they're trying to speed everything up. And they sped the pace up so nobody else behind them could save fuel because everybody was on the window.
Everybody that pitted at 83 to go was probably in the window to make it without a green wedge checker.
It's very close, though.
Yes.
You had to save.
Yeah.
Which means you had to give up track position. Yes, because we were doing it. I promise you, we led the whole race. And then we were like saving, and we were like 7th, then we got wrecked. And Blaney was a little frustrated, and Hassler came on the radio, and he's like, it's hard to tell. We'll just get this fixed and go back out.
Yeah.
But then the Walmart sign changes the whole complexion of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get another caution with Greggson crashing here. I only saw him tore up. I didn't see what happened.
I don't even know where he's at.
Oh.
A lot of tire smoke. We got stuff going on everywhere. 21 car.
Did he just get
off
tight?
The bumper of the 21 car? Run that back now that I know where the 10 car is at.
I mean, the 10 got tight and pushed the 21 up in the.
It's just tight quarters, right? He thinks he might be clear of the 21.
It's not tight quarters because the three in front of the 3 cars in front of him are running 3 wide just fine. He's
That's
up
true.
a lane and he just run everybody in the fence. So I mean,
yes,
it
that
is
is what
tight
happened.
quarters, yes, but you have to lift at some point. So like, I understand what you're saying, but you can't wreck your race car and drive everybody on the outside of you in the fence.
That is true. Well, he didn't really drive any. Well, he definitely pinched the 21. And the
I
21
don't know if
hooked
we're
him.
watching the same replay.
I don't. No. What I'm saying is, I don't think the 10 knew that he was bottom of 3. I think the 21 was kind of in. Well, he was definitely to his right, retired. Never mind from this angle. I take back what I said. He pinched the 10 and then, or pinched the 21, and then the 21 hooked him.
He's lucky. They're lucky that he went that way. And
There
not the
was
other way, 'cause that'd have
every
been a
single
big wreck.
crash.
Where were you there?
I don't know. Every single crash. I think I was in front of that. Every single crash could have been a lot more carnage and a lot more cars. Particularly, what was the one? The 17 and the 12.
The
That
17
one.
and
That
12
one
could've been bad.
should have been
The
about
5 car.
8 car crash. Did you have my in-car camera up 17? Because if the 17 goes to the left after he hits the fence another foot, I'm launching over his car into a. Good job, Biggie.
That's one of those where you're like, ah, and you miss it.
I was on the binders like, ah! Oh, thank you, Jesus. We're good.
Oh, man. So Higgie's
What
got
else
the
is
choose
there?
here written down. What is important about the choose?
Well, this
Okay.
goes exactly how you expect. Team Penske cars line up on the inside row. Trackhouse cars on the outside row. Data shows the outside lane prevails here. But I think what we're taking into account here is that handling was a big issue. You can easily hold it flat for the first through 1 and 2 for like the first 4 or 5 rows. But it's right here where the 1 is committed to staying in the gas and loses his nose big time.
Both Trackhouse cars were super tight all night.
And
all
the
day
1
long.
gets the death push.
Oh, man.
So that right there was the difference. And then who was that pushed the 1 into the fence? The 9. The 9 might have been getting pushed because I was looking up like, why is Ross running the fence like that? Is he doing another Hail Melon? He got pushed into the fence. Holy moly. The man himself just walked in the nonsense garage. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about this green white checkered here briefly, then we'll get my man in the studio. Team
Are
Penske.
you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You're the first cup driver that's ever been this early for anything ever.
Well, he had a short day
Yeah,
yesterday.
well, he's
so
got Cliff. He's not late when he has Cliff.
Here we go. So the 1 gets the death push, and now the 99 is by himself, and they just never that outside
stacked.
lane could never formulate a run. It was close though. Joe Logano and Coleman Presley, the dynamic duo up on the roof. Joe Logano gets it done. Do you have his in-car radio after the race? That made me chuckle. It was just typical Joey.
That's how we start the playoff, boys! Yeah!
Frick yeah.
Frick yeah, that's how you start the freaking playoffs, boys.
Joey, listen, dude. Joey's one of them guys that, like, no matter how much they struggle, if you show him the front, I think we saw it at Richmond, right?
Yeah.
If he sniffs the front at the end of the races, he can find a way to win. So they're just see how the Penske cars, dude. I know I work there and I talk about it, but they find a way to be good late in the stretch. So fresh life for them boys.
Fresh life. You know who else needs some fresh life? Going to Watkins Glen this week. Going to Bristol the following week. My man can win any given week because he's arguably the best driver in the entire world right now. That's why I wore my shirt. World's okayest racing driver, because we're going to be talking to the world's greatest driver, Kyle Larson, right after the break in the Nonsense Garage. Let's go.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week right here at Around the Track. Whether you are going to the racetrack or watching from home, we get you ready for all things national and regional level.
And we'll tell you who and what to watch for each week. Plus, we get you ready for the weekend at the racetrack, and Erica will help you place your bets to win some easy money.
Be sure to check out Around the Track every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
All right, guys, we are back in the Nonsense Garage. This man needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyways. 2021 Cup Series champion, 3-time Knoxville Nationals winner. If you check his Wikipedia page, it's like a 3-thumb scroller of all the times this man has won. 2024 Indy 500 starter, just waving the banner for all of us race fans out there. Kyle Larson joins Nonsense Garage.
How are you guys?
Fantastic. First off, are you okay? Because we were just watching your crash and it was large.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Sore?
Just a little bit. Not bad. It's getting worse. But it's not too bad, honestly. My head, actually, I was more worried about that as I was approaching the wall, but my head felt fine. So
how much time did you have to think, like, oh, boy, I'm in a bad spot?
Yeah. It happened, like, you know how, like, when you wreck, like, things are slower. Like, you have time to process, which I did, but it was fast. Like, it was faster than any – it happened quicker than I think any wreck I can think of.
Bro. So fast. Also, stuff happens in a hurry there, Atlanta. Yeah. What do you think happened there?
I think so. I mean, you know how the cars are. You get like weird. I was in that weird arrow spot. I think I was getting tight, you know. So I was trying to like shade, get some clean air.
There?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to just shade to get some clean air and just kind of get to the end of the stage, and I think I was just like offset, you know, halfway, and it
snapped.
Yeah. I mean, it just like I was like, man, I'm just like cruising around the corner, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm loose, like I'm about to spin out, and you know, and then I. Correct.
Would you like to relive it? We have the in-car camera.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. God, it looks...
So you said you were wearing a mouthpiece sensor?
Yeah, I think it was like 43 Gs. Honestly, like the hit from Briscoe hurt almost as much just because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like it was so long after the wreck, but yeah. No, it was...
Sorry about that, buddy. That was
I know, just stupid. Like what even? I mean, none of us are trying.
Yeah, not even like
like none of us are trying. So.
No.
Yeah, just a bummer.
I'm glad your car turned back the other way though, and you weren't broadside.
Yeah. Like I'm lucky that Briscoe caught me in the right rear, rather than the door, because it could have been very similar to like when Priest entered my car in Talladega. So yeah, I mean unfortunate but got lucky, at the same time.
Yeah, well. Obviously not the way you want to start the playoffs for that 5 team. You got 4 wins already on the year. What do you want to touch on here?
You have won a lot of races, but you have had some hellacious wrecks. Where does that rank in
that one?
What's your top 3?
Oh, top 3? Dude.
The
I've got
IndyCar
so
Daytona.
Many. I've got so many. Yeah, but that didn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
But like
the midget
spectacular
visually,
yeah.
Spectacular.
I would say my number 1 would be I wrecked 2012 the 4 Crown in the Nomming Sprint car.
Was that the mean green car?
Yeah. So I like kind of bounced and got in the wall and was just going to tumble down the banking. Just not bad. And then somebody couldn't miss me, and I was upside down and hit me basically in my cockpit.
Oh.
And
were your eyes open or close?
Open, because I remember him coming. And
you looked at him in the eyes too.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably huge for him too. But then I started flipping, and I nosed in one time, and it like major whiplash.
Oh.
And I was supposed to run the Tony Silvercrown car after that, and I was like getting my together in the lounge, and looked in the mirror. My neck was like
from the seatbelt.
No, I don't know, just from the whiplash. I think of whipping. So I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't race. So I didn't race the Silvercrown, and I went and got checked out. I was fine, but I was way stiff, I remember, after that one. So I've tightened my neck restraints up quite a bit since then. And but yeah, that one was big. Talladega, I broke my rib. That one was big. That was kind of like didn't really know it was quite coming.
What year was that, so they could put the tape on there?
It was, so I won Dover playoff race the week before.
42 car.
Yeah. So I think like 18 or 19, and then hit that really hard. Fontana was good. I've got so many to pick from. So
wrecks at Fontana,
dude,
were different.
Yeah, I shredded a left rear off of 2, and it ripped the brake line off or something. So like I had no brakes, and my car's going to the inside wall, and I'm like trying to pump, and I mean I hit it a ton and like whip around.
And that's one where you get to think for a long way, like this is gonna really
hurt. Oh yeah, that was a long time of thinking. So that one, I think, because of you have all that time, I think that's why it that one was like 50 something G's from what I remember.
That does not feel
you
good.
said your mouthpiece was 40 something.
Yeah,
it's a big hit.
Yeah.
enough about wrecking. Let's talk about winning because you have been
Okay.
doing a lot of that too. Congrats on your 3rd Knoxville Nationals.
Thank you.
That's got to be pretty damn cool, huh?
Yeah, that one's
Led all
really
50
cool.
laps.
Yep, yeah, 2 years in a row leading all 50, and honestly, this one's really cool to me because it's been up to the couple weeks leading into Knoxville has been probably our worst ever year by far. In the 57, we've missed 3 main events. We've just not been that competitive. I think we'd only won like 2 races leading into that. Just been really inconsistent, and then missed the feature at the Kings Royal, and went to work and came back and never lost. So it was. That's why that one feels really special because I had no confidence after Kings Royal, and then we went to Peevely and started winning, and you build your confidence, and things just kind of snowball.
You went on a heater of a run in that thing.
Yeah, I think we won 6 in a row, and then was leading the.
Is that from those exhaust pipes that kick up? Is that
No, honestly, so we struggled. So we blew up. We'd just been inconsistent this year, but we blew up at the NASCAR weekend at Knoxville. We were running and blew up leading, put in a different engine, and just really didn't run good since then. So after missing Kings Road, we qualified like 40th out of 50 some cars. So we went to the chassis dyno. First time ever we've been in the chassis dyno. We don't ever do any R&D work at the
Neither does the 11 car this week, apparently.
So we went to chassis dyno. We learned that we were down a lot of horsepower with that engine. Plugged in our other one, which we were still down compared to our data point, which was Rico. They were nice enough to give us their they had just been a chassis dyno, but they've got the best engines probably in the sport. But anyways, put those headers on with the turn up exhaust, and that seemed to not hurt it. So we just ran it, and I don't know, started winning.
How long does it take till every sprint car in the field has those types?
I don't know. They didn't take long, and there was definitely a handful of them. Like Rico, he put them on. He's been winning almost every night since then too. So it's cool to see. There's not like a whole lot of innovation, I feel like, in sports, and not that was being innovative because people ran turned up exhaust like that back in the day, but for so long, at least since I've been racing sprint cars, it's all been straight pipes. So it was cool that we put it on and had success, and now there's a handful of cars throughout the country, non-wing guys.
It's funny when you
Outlaws,
win how
High
people
Limit.
start doing stuff.
Yeah,
we were winning with the indoor car, and Corey drew a square. Tell him.
I just was watching, being a fan, and we were hanging out with him in the indoor stuff, and like trying to figure out how much camber the right front had. So I just literally drew like a chalk mark, like you would at a go-kart, right?
Uh-huh.
He did with a paint pen. He put a paint pen square on the
right front
tire, like up
to
on
see
the
how much
patch.
it was wearing. And then after he wins the first night, every car in the field had just a square on the sidewall, on the inside. People just drew a square on the right front tire.
that's awesome.
Yeah, Corey.
It's pretty much the same thing as Kyle Larson winning
Those
that.
sprint cars, though, are only wing, motor, tire, and driver. That's the only thing to them.
You got like 4 bars, 4 shocks. Like it's
And
simple.
Moving wing, right?
Yeah, moving wing, but yeah. This year
went-
they changed the rule too. So like normally you could have up to a 2-inch wicker bill, and this year they've killed downforce, and now you can only run 1 inch. So it's kind of thrown a lot of teams off. I feel like majority of the year, like a lot of good teams have been struggling, and then some teams that have been average in past have been really good. So it's been an interesting year, kind of fun. Even though we've struggled most of it, it's been fun to kind of see teams evolve.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, cars with a lot of adjustments, those Indy cars. I want to talk about that a little bit. Rumor has it there's an announcement coming on Tuesday. I saw that in my inbox. Zach Brown's coming to town too. Not the artist, but the fellow from McLaren. How much did it take to get used to all the settings and adjustments and stuff with that IndyCar before you went to a run?
So, like when you look at it on paper, it's very overwhelming and stressful because you're like, man, there's so many buttons on here and dials and all this and that. But like once you get going, there's only like 2 things that you're really worried about. You got your weight jacker and then like your fuel setting.
So your weight jacker is just a button?
Yeah.
Does it just give you a number when you click
Yeah,
it?
yeah. There's like a negative to a positive number. So yeah, I mean, really, that's the only thing you're really worried about. And then there's like another dial that changes pages, like what we would have on our dash, or I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that it's really kind of useless, at least for me and what I experienced this past year. But when they email you the documents, you're like, dude, Like, oh my
Like
gosh,
they
I
give
haven't had to
you
do homework in
like
forever.
the owner's manual.
Yeah.
Like you get for your Tahoe.
Yeah, but as soon as I made laps, I was like, oh, these are the only things that we talk about and use. So then it was fine.
You said every time I talk to you about it, you said they drive eerily similar to a NextGen car.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre to me. Why
Yeah.
is that?
I think our cars have transitioned to a lot, similar. Obviously, I think the outer body stuff looks different, but I think what's underneath it, we've transitioned way closer to that style. So, I mean, shorter sidewalls, I think, is a big thing. The
Independent rear.
the underbody stuff, all that. So, yeah, I mean, like a cup car, like at Indy, like if I didn't, if I couldn't visually like be an Indy car and be behind an Indy car, or be in a stock car and see a stock car in front of me, like I could close my eyes and they were almost identical.
In terms of how they
Yeah, just the
dirty air.
edginess, how they handle in dirty air, the wash effect that you get, which is more in an Indy car just because you're going faster, I think. Like if we were going 220, we would probably plow even more than we already plow in a stock car. So to me, like the aero, everything, the style of race, the strategy of the race, all that is so similar. So
How was the pre-race? It looks bananas.
yeah, the pre-race is bananas. I don't know. My mind this year was like not really into it because like I was like sad, that I was gonna miss the start of the 600 and all that. So like I didn't really get to like soak in the pre-race. So that was a bummer because it is so cool, and it was different too because the weather had come in. So typically I think like you walk across the stage, they have a stage on the front stretch. Like we walked across the normal victory lane stage like we do for Cup. So yeah, all that was a little bit different, but regardless, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people there. It's just, yeah, it's insane. I mean, you walk to intros like as a team with all the, mechanics and drivers and families and stuff together. So all that's really cool. So yeah, hopefully if I get to do it again next year,
Hypothetically speaking,
we'll enjoy it more.
So you said they drive a lot alike, and you got a ton of practice, in May. But then when you went back with the NASCAR, you don't get a bunch of practice, and you were able to it looked like you were able to make runs and drive through the field better than anybody else had in a long time there. Did that time in May kind of making runs and figuring out where to pass help you when it came time for the NASCAR race?
I definitely don't think it hurt, for sure. Obviously, I think I was a little bit circumstantial being the amount of fuel we had. Like I could be aggressive, but still making those like late kind of like pop out position passes on entry was very much like an IndyCar. Watching others do it in front of me, doing it a couple times in the race, like you get an idea of like what that visually looks like more than anything. So I think it definitely helped, but I think the fuel that we had on board helped more than anything. Dude,
I heard from somebody like Larson's making some sketchy moves in practice. I'm like, that's what he does, man. Like
there was only like one sketchy move. No, there was only one sketchy move I think that I made. And I was just trying to have like fun, and also I mean you kind of have to like make somewhat sketchy moves, I feel like, to learn, So like a lot of those guys race regularly. So the only one that I remember was like, I was having fun with McLaughlin, and I had a big draft, and he was like kind of entered lower, and I thought I could like clear him into one. Well, we just like ran side by side through one. So he was probably like, you idiot. But and I was kind of laughing, as I made it through. I'm like, okay, that was dumb, but let's not do that again. But yeah, no, the cars have so much grip that I really didn't have any sketchy moments ever. Thankfully, the only sketchy moments I really had was like when I would get tight and you have like a lot of wheel in it, and then it finally grabs and it like wants to kind of pull you around. But I never had like loose moments in the draft, nothing like that, which I think you do need to live on that little bit of an edge, where I think in practice, like going to do it again, I would just not that I wouldn't do anything, but I would just look for a little different balance throughout those days of practice. I think I was frightened of getting to that point, so I just had like a comfortable balance. Yeah. And then I think in the race I was just too tight to like build runs on people.
Seemed like one of those deals that there's almost so much practice that you're just like, let me get to the race already, because you're probably digesting so much information that you're just like, I can't get asked another question. I just want to race this thing and I'll figure it out. But
but for me though, like there's a lot of practice time, but really there's not as much as you think, because there's so much like waiting, and they make a change and it takes a few hours, and like, so you really like, you feel like you're missing out on more practice than really the amount that you get. But so it was still weird though, going from what we're used to with 20 minutes to, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of practice.
Hypothetically speaking, if you were to do it again, what do you do different, or what do you allow yourself to like embrace with the event versus just drinking from the fire hose from the first year?
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I handled the experience really well. I really took time to enjoy every single day, from every day of practice. I mean, I must have signed thousands of autographs, but like, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I wanted to do that. I wanted to build these memories for myself, for my family, all of that, friends. So I would do that all the same. The only thing I would change would be like what I mentioned, just working through trying to get a little different balance throughout the days of practice to be a little bit more competitive in the race. I felt like we were pretty competitive, but
where do you feel, if you don't speed on pit road, where do you feel like you're?
I think I finished 4th to 7th probably, which is great.
Yeah.
But
But you also go there to win.
Yeah, I couldn't win. Like, I knew I couldn't win. So, I mean, things play out. Maybe you can. But right. You want to, like, work through a balance to where you are confident that you can win once the green flag drops. So, yeah, I would just work through a little different balance probably.
I love seeing the kind of like the celebrity status that it brought you, because I don't even know if you know this, but at the All-Star race when you flew in, we at the All-Star race, the picker guys do driver intros with the driver. So, like, us four and Blaney were walking, and you had landed, and, like, some security guy grabbed Blaney, and us was like, get out of the way! Larson's coming! And Blaney's like, what the f-? you come by.
Current champion.
Like, everybody, but, like, they were like, hold on! It was like the president was coming, but I thought it was super cool.
That was
for
the
you.
month of Larson, bro.
Yeah, and you're a great ambassador for the sport. Not to kiss your ass, but it's pretty cool to see, so I'm excited. And hope that you get to do it again.
Yeah, no, thanks. I agree, though. Like, it's weird. Like, I didn't think that my status would change, after it. But I do feel like I get recognized more. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm more popular. It's just weird. It's weird after running, one event and not even, finishing 20th or whatever.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I have been, not infatuated necessarily, but I have been fairly interested in this world's greatest driver debate.
It's probably something you just said offhand and then someone took it and ran with
it.
It's intriguing.
When you end the quote with "you can quote that," you're here for the smoke.
I was laughing when I did it, because I knew it would get a lot of.
Did it ever? If we were to, because there was like the old race of champions, right? Yeah. Overseas, and Carl Edwards did it. I believe
it still goes on. It's just not as covered in America.
Yeah. What sort of events could we pin you and Max head to head with? Like, we'll do what sort of random cars would you think would be a fair judge?
I don't know. I really don't know, like, what. I don't know if you can ever
I
really.
Agree.
So I don't know. It's just a difficult thing and something to debate and try and prove.
But I feel like we got to know.
I know. I don't know. I think the Race of Champions kind of layout would be okay, but again, I think that's road course stuff. Yeah. That's a little bit more probably similar, I would say, to what he does. I don't even know. I think maybe they change the cars up every year. I'm not really sure what it is, but no, I mean, I would love to do it.
But I think the underlying thing for me is that just goes to show the level of self-confidence that it takes to be the greatest, right? And I think that particularly in my little, my year, it's been really on the racetrack, and the self-doubt is always kind of there, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when it's not going well, it gets a little louder voices. So and I'm sure those voices are there for you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So how do you fight those off, right? And what's your internal dialogue during a Sunday or during a sprint car race that allows you to just go execute at a high level like you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think for me, I race almost 100 times a year, so that really helps. And I go race cars that I'm familiar with and know that I'm going to run up front in, and I think that helps confidence for Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't get me wrong. Even when I'm running good, I think self-doubt is always there, as you said. So, I don't know. I think
then
for
you have
me,
Cliff Daniels in your ear to pump you back up.
Yeah, pump you up, for sure. He's great at that. So, I don't know. I think, and I have never really done it in a long time, but if I was only racing NASCAR and I was going through a dry spell, it would probably take me longer to pull out of it. So I think that's definitely, it's important for me to race a lot, physically, but mentally, probably more so than anything, just to help me forget and move on from what just happened. Like, this weekend, crashing, just, wrecking all on my own. Like, I wish I could go race this week and just forget about it, but like it's Monday right now and it's still on my mind, and it's like all I really care about, and I'm probably in a mood today because of it. So but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think having good people around me as well, family, obviously number one. Yeah, Josh for sure, friends, and then my team. Always know that they have my support.
You have a badass team for sure. Jesse Saunders and the boys. Do you get questioned by people? I get questioned, and I do a small amount of just dumbass races. But, like, do you get questioned a lot? Like, why do you do that? Because I think there's a lot of people around here that have made a lot of money driving race cars, but they've kind of lost that, like, where they want to go.
Grittiness?
Like, they don't. Well, they're like, why would you do that? You can go hang out on the lake, dude. What are you doing? You can go golf. Like, do you get that question a lot?
Yeah, all the time. But
probably from Caitlin.
Yeah.
No, she gets it.
She gets it. She gets it. She would definitely love for me to be home more often than I am. But I think, and I tell her this all the time, like, I'm 32. Like, I feel like I'm in my prime right now. I feel like I need to take advantage of these years of my life. I feel like also where I'm at in racing and in motorsports, I can do so much to help grow not only the top level of NASCAR, but I feel like I can uplift the grassroots stuff, which is very important to me. Yeah. So there's all of that, as well as the competitive side of in training of, like, more laps is better for me, more racing situations. I feel like I can become better, just constantly learning and being, physically and mentally fit for it, and becoming more fit racing. So, and then too, I mean, don't get me wrong, I make a lot of money racing dirt. Winning Knoxville Nationals pays $190,000. If you can I only race 25-ish sprint car races a year, but if I can put together good races, sell a lot of merchandise, like it's a
merchandise sales
great
from this fella.
Ton of
it's
millions
a great
and millions of dollars of merchandise.
No, not quite that, but
just one.
Don't be humble in here.
But
we're stacking pennies. He's stacking.
And you genuinely like racing. That's
I love
what
it,
I tell people. Like, there's nothing better than going, like, especially if you go to the racetrack and you unload and you're a box and you work with your guys and you make it better and you have a good night and you drink a beer on the tailgate, like on the lift gate at the end of the night. Like, there's nothing better than that feeling. I don't care what you're racing.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I mean, I have, like, my dry spells, like when we're not running good, and I'm like, man, like, I wish I didn't sign up for this. Like, I especially now, like with the high limit stuff, like, we built this midweek schedule kind of around me, and it's 12 races. It's 12 weeks away from home, even more. So, like, my weeks are really, really short. So yeah, I for sure get burnt out. So, like, that's why this time of year. Well, so right now, for these final 10 weeks, well, I guess 11 or 12 weeks, because I haven't raced a sprint car in a while, not a while, but a couple weeks. But it's just important for me to, like, not race that stuff, just so I could just, like, calm down and settle down. So these last 2 weeks, I've been home all week and going to the tracks on Saturdays. It's crazy. Like, my weeks feel so long right now, in a good way.
Yeah.
Spending more time with the kids, like going on the lake, taking them to GoPro Motorplex, just doing different stuff. Like, Audrey's starting baseball right now, so, like, I'm actually getting to have a life outside of racing while still racing on the weekends, which I feel like a normal cup guy right now, so this is great.
Yeah, but Silva gets paid every time that sprint car runs, so he's probably calling you like, hey, man,
exactly,
Tuscarora 50.
They literally did text me. They texted me this weekend like, hey, next year, let's at least do the first 2 nights of Tuscarora.
Are you going to you going to New Zealand?
I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna do this off season. So I'll race just a few midget races out on the West Coast, and then I'll go to High Limit. We're doing a big event down in Perth. I've always wanted to go to Perth, so I'm gonna go there this off season just for 1 weekend. I don't even know if I'm there for a full week, but just a quick trip down there. Come back, go to the Tulsa Shootout with Owen, and
no Chili Bowl.
I don't know. We're on the fence about it right now. We're on the fence.
That might be what the press conference is tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys never know.
You didn't do it last year, correct?
So I didn't do it 2 years ago. I was not going to do it last year, and I'm sitting in Vado, New Mexico, and racing the late model because it's the same time.
Oh, right.
And we had like a few days off or something, and I went to our house in Arizona, and I'm watching the Chili Bowl, and I'm like getting some FOMO, and I'm like looking at the calendar, like I could pull this off. I think I could go run the Chili Bowl. And,
on like a Thursday qualifier.
Yeah, I think I did a Thursday maybe. Yeah, I did Thursday. Came back to Vado, did Friday. Well, so I did Thursday. I knew the only way for me to have a chance of running Saturday was a lock-in, which is the top two. So I didn't end up finishing top two. But if I did, I was going to try and race Vado, New Mexico, which ends their program goes so quick. They're done by like, I don't know, 8 o'clock most nights. And I was like, man, I could make it back to Tulsa. They usually run super long on Saturday nights, so if I make the 8, I can make it back. But I ran for Keith Coons. I sucked. I flipped. I flipped twice. I think I flipped in my heat race, and then I flipped again in the feature. Yeah, it was a struggle, but
should have plenty of time as long as it takes to push all them things off.
I know. They actually do a good job at the Chili Bowl. So, some
guy made me a sign.
Hey, I do not disagree with that sign. I've seen this, and I love that it's there.
Dude, yeah, Kevin Swindell is going to have your ass if he listens to this, just so you know.
I'm sure he doesn't. He'll see
Dude, when I ran the dirt, like when I started doing dirt late model stuff, I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it's great. Push the button and go.
I drive up the staging.
Yeah.
I drive onto the track when the other cars are pulling off.
It's great.
I'm like just saying, you own your own series. You can be the innovator.
Give a weight break for a start.
I know.
That's another conversation for another day. I really wanted to get into the next 9 weeks, buddy. Trying to make a championship push with this 5-car. How do you forget about yesterday? Look ahead, going to Watkins Glen this weekend. You've won there before. Going to Bristol, one of your best racetracks. How do you feel? What's the messaging this week of that 5 team of how you get through this round of 16?
Yeah, I think just get back to what we know how to do and executing good races. We thankfully have fast race cars at almost every race we go to, so I would assume that'll be the case again this weekend. But just get back on track. Get Atlanta out of your mind. Thankfully, we racked up some bonus points throughout the regular season, and we're not as bad in the points as I thought we would be after the crash. So
where are you at right now?
15 to the good in drivers, and then 20 in the owners. But yeah, just put a solid day in. I mean, I don't think you need to you're not, obviously we're above the cut line, so you're not in desperation of got to do anything crazy. So just stay out of trouble and get a decent finish like we know we can, and then go on to Bristol, a track that we're competitive at, and hopefully make it through this round.
How much do you jump on the simulator, particularly for this week? Zero. Not even for Watkins Glen?
Mm-mm. No, I
said I got it.
I don't know. I mean, the sim to me, it just doesn't correlate to my butt and my brain and my hands. I think some people it really does, but for me it doesn't work. I don't mind going in there and doing post race stuff because I can, I feel like I'm doing more to help them make it better.
To get the
but in my experience of the sim in the past, and they've gotten it better, but I don't know. There's a few times I've done it. You get in the sim and you have this
expectation.
What you think of what you think real life is going to be, and then you get to real life and it's not what you feel, and I always crash in the sim too. So I'm always that doesn't help your confidence when you enter and you spin and you hit the wall every time. So then you go to the track thinking your car's gonna be loose in or plowing tight on exit or something, and
it drives good.
Or you're just closer to on edge than what you would be. So I just don't want to trick my mind really.
Well, you get enough real time seat experience that I don't feel like the simulator is going to do a whole lot for you necessarily.
I think there's a lot of people that are saying, "Wait, it's just a tool, right? And if it doesn't work, if it's not a good tool, you don't use it."
It works for lots of
the
people.
Guys that drive it for you.
Yeah. Anthony Alfredo logged some hours in that thing.
hours and hours. He'll be in there.
He's our MVP for sure. Hendrick
6 a.m.
Motorsports. Yeah.
It's made him better because he's made that Xfinity team
for
drive
sure.
for better. So
Shout
it's
out
working
Anthony
for
Alfredo.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
the
you,
best
Anthony
business
Alfredo.
deal.
Shout out Anthony Alfredo. And you made the one little comment there about 15 points to the good driver, the 20 points good to the owner. I love the tweet response back to Denny. Did he say anything to you back?
I seen he responded. So I know when Denny's tweeting, typically it's probably Jared Allen.
Okay.
So I assume Denny knew the situation, but I felt like tweeting back because
You don't tweet often, but when you do.
yeah, I don't tweet often.
It's gold.
I've tweeted more this year than I have in the last few years.
Do you
but,
read the comments?
Yeah, I mean for sure. I think you get bored at night or when you're not doing anything. Which is
what's the
so
percentage,
bad to do.
What's the percentage of mean tweets that you see?
Oh, it just depends. Like if you have a great week, it's like, oh, Kyle Larson's
The-
a goat.
the
He's the
greatest.
goat. He's the goat. And then like you crash one week, he's like overrated. So
It really ebbs and flows.
I
by
try-
Max Verstappen is better. I
yeah,
told you.
I try
Yeah.
to read less after a bad race, but no, I've had more fun on Twitter this year. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to show your personality sometimes.
It is. Well, it's people can take your 140 characters out of context sometimes.
That's why I've
too.
used more of like memes and stuff. I feel like this
I love
year,
a good meme.
Go in there and stoke the fire and then back away.
Yeah.
So how do you like your chances though for the playoffs? You got reset the playoff points, get some back after
Yeah,
Bristol.
if we can make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Who
our
do you
chances.
think? Who do you think is showing the most potential right now besides the 5 team?
You guys for sure.
12 team, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are always really good, and especially in the playoffs. And you can't count out Joey. Like when the pressure's on, he's extremely good.
Dude, Blaney carved yesterday.
Yeah.
That was
What
Yeah,
the
he did good.
45?
Yeah. Duh. Yeah, Tyler for sure. Yeah, I mean, as long as they can stay consistent, as long as anybody can stay consistent in
Yeah,
this
that's
era, you can be competitive. Bell, I think, is always sneaky good. Bell for sure. And then my Hendrick teammates as well. Denny's in a dip right now, but you can't be that fast all year long and then, just have it not work out
Yeah.
again. So
It's so crazy how much you and Tyler grew up racing against each other, and then you and Chris. Like when you think about you three now racing for a cup championship, like how long and how many races you guys have started against each other, especially with Tyler, and you guys were little kids.
Yeah. I mean, I started racing with Tyler. I think he's like 2 years younger than me, so I was probably 8. He's 6, maybe 5 at the time when we started racing together. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, but really cool. I'm sure. I mean, there's lots of guys that you grew up racing with that you're still racing with today, and it's
Right.
really cool to see where you guys have come from, and even on different spectrums, like you being on pit road and stuff, like growing up as kids, like it's really cool. So I think it just makes me proud of where we came from in Northern California, racing dirt oval go-karts and
Making
going different paths once we became teenagers too, and then still getting to the top level of sport and being separated by 1 point at the end of the regular season.
Have you won at Red Bluff yet? Is that still something looming over your head?
So I never won a box stock race, which is like
Where's Red Bluff?
That's it.
it's Northern California.
Where
So
they grew up racing.
yeah, it's like
Okay.
yeah, I would say Cycleland and Red Bluff
Yep.
is the two main tracks. And Cycleland, like Tyler and I dominated. Red Bluff, I don't remember.
Red Bluff
I'm guessing
is inside,
yeah,
like
it's
in like
indoors,
a cattle
it's winter.
barn
So
type thing.
Cycleland's summer, Red Bluff's winter.
Okay.
Red Bluff's like the Bowman Gray of go-karts. Like it's tight, boring. I mean, you got to like slam through people and all
you've
that.
never won there?
So I never won a box stock race, which is a kids
Yeah.
division.
Yeah.
And then
So that ship has sailed.
yeah.
You could try,
Yeah,
but
and then I won a ton of 125 and 250 races, and then the next step was the Opens, which is
Yeah.
the 500cc or nowadays.
what they ran at Millbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never won an open race, but I haven't ran that many of them. So like
I
this
drove
off
one
season,
time. It rattled my eyeballs out. Dude.
yeah, dude.
I drove one time,
Ugh.
and he coming past me, and I tried to follow him in the corner and dumped all the air off the wing. I rode up the fence. Like, oh, that's aero tight right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wings are so big for how small the cars are. So yeah, you do get aero
Wing to car
effect in that.
ratios.
Yeah, but no,
What-
I've
what-
never won an open race there, and I like so I still like will try and go there every now and then a race. Like I ran this off season, and I'm getting close to the point of just accepting the fact that I'm probably never gonna win a
Keep
open race
fighting,
there.
man. Keep fighting the good fight. Out of all the that you've won,
I know,
like that to that loom over your head.
dude. It's tough. It is so
Yeah.
tough there. You have to have luck. but you have to be good, and you just have to do it a lot. Like I qualified second when I ran there this off season, and was pumped about that. But dude, as soon
How
as
big is this joint?
I'll show you.
Eighth
eighth
mile?
of a mile.
I'll show you a video.
Like it's
when we're done.
tiny.
Okay.
Higgy's gonna pull a video up. And
It's
put it on
tiny. But yeah, as soon as we started the heat race, I was just like, you got to get used to the clutch again, and like it's just a lot's going on. They're way overpowered.
Well, that's a gift and a curse to you too. Is
Dang.
like you go win Knoxville at will, and everybody's like,
Oh, and
you don't win, and they're
everybody
like,
wants to,
yeah,
everybody
what the
wants to
hell? You
slide
didn't
job
win.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
If you let's just say like 3 years from now, you had no contractual obligations, but you still had all the relationships to create your own dream schedule. What would that look like?
Like in Cup?
Nope. Sprinkle some Cup races.
gosh.
Sprinkle some sprint car races. IndyCar races.
Like I'm not full time in anything.
Correct.
NASCAR Brazil, whatever
Like if
you want.
NASCAR Brazil. If you had like LarsonCars.com to just sponsor you wherever you wanted to go.
Gosh, I don't know. I honestly I enjoy doing what I get to do, but yeah, I mean, if you weren't racing for points, like there's a lot of sprint car racing this summer that I could go do, for sure, which I do get to do a ton of it. But there'd be a little bit more of that.
Would you?
I would run the majority of the Cup schedule for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. I guess there's other series in different countries. Maybe I could go run. That'd be
Such
fun.
as?
I don't know. Like a V8 supercar would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like get to go do the Bathurst. Would be
Yeah.
neat. But yeah, there's just conflicts. There's conflicts. There's
I was
not
taking
enough
conflicts
days.
out.
There's not enough days in the year. But yeah, conflicts out. But still, there's big races on the same weekends.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I don't know.
Some dirt late mile races.
Yeah, I would like to. I would love to like get to, try and win the world someday. Which I've ran the world and Dream and some other big races, but
Well,
I just don't get to
Davenport,
put enough
so-
time into it right now to get good. So I've kind of backed
Stuck
off
with
late
sprint
model.
cars.
Huh?
Stuck with the sprint cars.
For right now.
Yeah.
But if I get some more free time where I could like commit to getting better in the late model, I would get back into it
You haul ass in that thing too. There's not much you don't haul ass
for like
in.
one lap.
I don't know,
Then-
dude. That race, that race.
The first
at
one,
Port Royal,
didn't you win the World of Outlaw race the first time you ever drove at East Bay?
No, I haven't ran.
Port.
It's
Yeah, I
Port
ran
Royal.
Port Royal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished 5th, I think, the first night, and then we won the second night. So that was cool. That's honestly like I forget about it sometimes, but when people ask like, "What's the greatest accomplishment you've ever had?" That might be it. Like
Really?
because when that's a totally different realm of style of driving.
Those things are boats.
Well, and
And the competition is so stacked, especially that weekend. You had the Outlaw guys there, Lucas guys, and
the chatter around it.
yeah, and there was
Everybody
just
like,
hype
yeah,
and-
he's good at because you were having a hell of a
Yeah.
you were having a hell of a sprint car year, and like, yeah, he's good at sprint cars, but he could never come. He
yeah.
could never come run a
Yeah,
late
so
model.
that was cool. Yeah, I mean, that might be like one of my best, if not my best accomplishment. So that was cool.
It was cool.
It's a long list of accomplishments, buddy. Which leads us into the 3 questions. I think
Okay.
you probably asked you these last year, but for a refresher for the fans, if you had to pick one race car and one racetrack to race at the rest of your life, you don't get to pick anything else or race anything else. You have to pick one car and one track.
I would do probably a wing 410 sprint car, Knoxville Nationals.
I could have bet the house that was going to
Yeah.
be the answer. And nobody would ever beat you for all of eternity.
I don't know.
Well,
As long as Donnie's
that's
still
a good.
around.
If we're talking about arguments, that is a great argument. You in your prime, Donnie Schatz in his prime at Knoxville. Because
I don't know.
and then put
Like
Steve
a pole
Kinzer in his
dash?
prime there,
Yeah,
and
I
Doug
don't
Wolfgang
know.
in his
I
prime.
mean-
Therefore, like if we're talking, But then-
Donnie's record there is
Impressive.
going to be impossible to beat. I mean, the guy has run like, I don't know how many Knoxville Nationals, 21 or 2, and has been on the podium like 18 times. Got an average finish of like 2.6 probably.
Oh, my. Yeah, and he's so
In
fun to watch.
2 decades of
So
racing
fun
there.
to
So
watch.
yeah, he's incredible.
Well, there you have it. 410 sprint car, Knoxville's Larson's answer, understandably. Second one. What's your most embarrassing moment at the racetrack?
I think I remember the one from last. time.
Yeah, I think because this was right after it. I think it happened.
I don't remember.
Well,
what it was.
no. So there, you had 2, but
I had 2, and I still have 2. if you want me to refresh
Yeah,
everybody
just a
on
quick
the
refresher,
two.
Cliff
Okay. First one was we ran Canyon at Dover, 2012. I helicoptered to Williams Grove, ran for Tom Book in the 13 sprint car. Missed qualifying, had to tag the back of the heat race. Never been in his car before. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to lag back so I can get a little hot lap in here before I catch the field. I went down the backstretch, squeezed the brakes to get into turn 3, and it hung a hard left. I clipped the inside wall, wrecked in front of Beer Hill Gang, and they were all screaming at me, laughing, and I was like, the Pennsylvania Posse fans didn't really like me back then because I was.
Do they like you now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But I was like this hyped, really overly hyped young kid at the time. So yeah, that was embarrassing.
Didn't you tell them to stay on the porch at some point in time? You got in some Twitter beef with them.
Yes. No, it's fun. But then the second one was I think it was last year. I won at Golden Isle in the dirt late model, and it was an awesome race. Passed Ricky Thornton with 2 to go after battling him in Overton. Knocking the boards down, got the lead, won. Did the scales, the droop, everything, came ripping back onto the racetrack on the on-ramp and went to go. I want to do a fast donut into 3, and I spun. I'm like, oh, I almost backed it in the fence, but I nosed it into the wall, destroyed the nose, and I've been pretty terrible in a dirt late model ever since. So,
would you get all the good out of it?
I must have. I think it bent the nose of that car, but yeah, that was embarrassing.
Last question. If I had a Men in Black pin where it zaps all your memory, but you only had to keep one memory, whether that's a watershed moment where something happened and it went the right way in your fortune, or just a win, if there's one racing memory you got to keep, what is that?
If I could just relive winning the championship in 21, get to relive that whole, really just from when the checker flag drops till you go to bed at 5 in the morning.
Or
if I
or you see the bed and
I wish I could see Cliff again, in his state that he was in. I would like to relive those 12 hours.
Well, you have a chance in 9 weeks to be able to do that, buddy. And from Stag and Penny's audience in the studio, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Kyle Larson, everybody. Follow that 5 groups championship run. They're going to be hard to beat.
Hope so.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race. You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the 2-stop strategy. This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get the ear, just over a car width.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed that sit down with world's greatest driver, Kyle Larson, right here in Stag and Penny. It's cool to get a fella like that in the studio.
Yeah, it's great. Anytime you can talk to a past champ, he's got a good pulse for the sport, not only NASCAR but the whole sport. And really haven't gotten to talk to him much since Indy.
Yeah. So he talked a little bit about that. Announcing this week, though, allegedly, he may or may not be racing the Indy 500 next year. Happy to see it.
Yeah.
Brickyard 400 champ. See if we can't wave that banner for the stock car fellas next May.
It definitely brings the whole motorsports community together.
It does.
And makes you interested even more so in both races. So
easy guy to get behind, though, right? Just down to earth. Got 3 kids. Likes to race. Likes his job. Good dude. Hell of a race car driver.
Yeah, he's good. Another guy that's a hell of a race car driver. When we left off, we were talking about
Joseph.
Our boy Joseph Logano. And like I said, if you give this team any bit of life, they are going to be strong. Him and Paul Wolf and that whole group know how to win races. So, there's a lot of people that were writing him off. No chance. He's done. There's a couple people you don't ever write off. There's a couple drivers in the field. I know Kyle Busch is down and out right now. You don't write Kyle Busch off. You don't write Kyle Larson off. You don't write Joe Logano off.
Nope.
Right? There's guys you never write Kevin. You didn't write Kevin Harvick off. Right?
Think about this, the closer. Think about this. If the caution doesn't come out with 5 laps to go at Nashville, Joey runs 14th and I run 15th. Caution comes out, couple green white checkers, couple crashes, Joey wins the race. for Joey standards, major winless streak. And if he goes the rest of the year, a regular season, not win a race, he's out of the playoffs. Now, my man's already punched his ticket to the round of 12, and they get a little bit of momentum going with that 22 car. Watch out.
Yeah, but he also, I don't mean to toot his horn too much, but he also, in Nashville, he's been racing Cup cars his whole adult life. Since he was 18 or 19 years old. So he knows if there's a guy that you need in situations to save you fuel, to be crafty. And then, by the way, Richmond, top 5 car, good pit stop, nails the restart, right? Like, you show him the front at the end. He's just like, Kyle Busch the same way. You show them guys the front at the end. Even if they've struggled all day, even if they haven't had the most speed, they find a way to park their stuff in victory lane.
For sure.
So that's what's scary about him. There's wild card races. He's a wild card driver, for sure. Even because, like, right now you'd call him a wild card because they haven't had a ton of speed all year. But somehow they're still getting their picture taken at the end of the race with confetti around them.
Yep.
So,
it's a hot take.
They did have a lot of trouble for playoff drivers. We talked about 13 of the 16 drivers had issues yesterday in the race. That's a big number. Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe got wrecked. Denny Hamlin starting to rear, didn't have a great day. Martin Truex, and then Harrison Burton got caught up in that last accident. I didn't see that last accident at all. I think we were going to watch it, but here it is right here.
The 9 turns the 1 into the fence, but the one I watched here was old Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He ain't checked up yet. Pushing the 23, spins him out. Going to the front, boys.
Oh, Ricky did just – I'm going. You
23.
say it, though, that you commit to throttle, and that's what it is. Like, that's what you say. Here you are.
23's coming down the hill like, oh, boy. Clear. I'm through it, Harry.
Okay, so we did watch this before Kyle came in. I was distracted. But, yes, the 23 just, like, he was, like, driving his car through the grass all wrecked, and he parked, like, right in front of our pit stall and just got out, walked away.
Big sad.
Question of the week for those 13 of 16 that had trouble. How do you rebound from a bad opening playoff? Larson touched on it a little bit, but what do you have to add to that?
Well, as last week. This week's Watkins Glen, you prepare. Mere mortals do simulator time, while Kyle Larson does not. I will be sweating. My hamsters will be going, and I'll have smoke coming my ears trying to figure out how to make speed on the simulator just to go. Well, we qualified 10th there last year, actually. So I anticipate having some decent pace at Watkins Glen. But those fellas, they need to, like you guys did, you guys need to, especially the ones that are outside the cut line, I think about the 19 in particular, need stage points. Some place like Watkins Glen, though, is a place where it gets generally strung out, and large crashes generally don't happen, except for the one in turn 2 several years ago. Somebody's rear end got ripped out.
At Watkins Glen?
Yeah.
There's some big wrecks. Dude,
There have been some huge wrecks.
I was changing tires for McDowell when he ripped his car in half on the backstretch.
Bro, big
but
wreck.
they're genuinely not, like, gigantic. But you can get caught up. There's enough runoff in different places where you can get caught up in somebody else's mess really quick. Right here, how crucial is morale and momentum? Momentum's a cruel mistress, right? And it's easy to think you're great when you're riding a great wave of momentum, right? Like we talked about last week. Anybody can do it when the sun's shining. But that old adage, when stuff gets hard, you don't rise to the level of your, you don't rise to the occasion, but you stoop to the level of your preparation. It's the same way. Like in racing, when stuff gets hard, you stoop to the strength of your team, right? And that just shows you how strong your team is.
Right.
And that's when you find out. Last year, I look at Texas as a watershed moment for our team and for Blaney, right? Sped on pit road, got caught up in a wreck, and he saw kind of the writings of what happened the year before where it slipped out of our hands. And he said, nope, had some gumption and wheeled it back in and went and won the championship.
Gumption.
So that leads us to
what?
I saw you have a woe. Pit road boats.
I did have a woe. Do we have do we have the audio of that? Because Sparks generally screams at me leaving the pit box.
I don't even. Do we have the video?
He cleared me out. Clear out, and then I just start like kind of easing my way off to the grass, and lo and behold, Clyde Elliott is right next to me.
So we got a whole list of collisions.
The Jordan Brand Camry. Okay, gas only for the 22 and the 45 pulling out here. Let's see. Oh, 77 coming in hot. Oh, no.
He just aborted mission after that.
Yeah.
99. Oh, God.
Yikes. So the Atlanta pit road is...
Look at Nick Hensley just out there. I'm going to gas this thing.
Yeah, I was clear. I was told I was clear out there. Was not. There's 2 outside, actually. Sorry, Clyde.
I wonder if he said anything mean about you on the radio.
Probably did.
2-car in the 9. Okay, so he was guilty of it earlier.
So...
Oh, gosh. He got ping-ponged.
Around the 20, turn in. Don't slide him, stop short. 17's coming around you. As soon as you see him, you're gone. You ready? Go. Dig. All the way. Dig. Outside.
Nope, there's 2 cars out there. No.
Clear enough.
Clear enough. I'm taking this. This is mine.
So Atlanta is a 1.5 mile pit road. So how it was forever when it was wore out and you raced it like 1.5 miles.
Only a couple cars on the lead lap.
About 15.
Yeah.
At the most.
Right. Now 36.
Now 36, and the pit boxes are the same size. So that is why qualifying is so important, because we had an opening out, and it just helped us so much.
For sure.
So, and being towards the end of pit road, like we picked 6 with that opening out, because that way it's less bottlenecked when you leave.
We were right in front of you guys.
Yes. Well, depending on how you see it. Behind us, number-wise, if we were 6, you were like 12. Or you were 9.
Oh, we were 9.
7 or 8, 9, somewhere like that. But yes, the 20 pitted outside their box. I haven't seen this one yet. This is a new video.
Oh, can't do that.
Hicksy.
No, can't do that.
Came. Oh, see. So they parked
Back
over
it
the
up.
line.
Back
Hicks
it
is a
up.
veteran.
Because that's a 1-lap penalty if you pit that unit.
Yeah. So if they would have just dropped the jack and backed it up, but since he changed the tire, that's a penalty.
Really?
Yes. They would have just dropped the jack and back it up and not do it. Then they.
What if they put the original tire back on?
I don't know. You're pretty far in the weeds there. I genuinely, as a front changer, try to call that. Like, I always play that safe because the risk is not worth the reward.
Do you have like a mark, like a duct tape mark, if you're beyond, like the gap from
we put marks in the box that kind of show us. I don't have one. I just genuinely can tell because I'm standing there, and then our guys behind the wall can tell as well.
Yeah.
But it's like,
so the guy that's pulling your hose or something's looking like, it's good.
Yeah, doing the pit sign.
Bad. Back it up.
Sign. Yeah.
Screaming at you on the intercom. Hey.
Yep. Yeah. So and then the 2 crew, you got them keyed up here. Oh, it says slow stop. They lost a left front nut. So here genuinely you're not in too much of a rush because you're taking so much fuel. They lost a nut on the left side. So what happens is the wheel openings on super speedways are super tight. It's hard to get the tires in and out. So he went to, just like we saw last week with Tingler on the 3-car, he went to pull the left front and it caught the fender a little bit, which detached the gun from the hub and the nut fell out. And he didn't catch it. Took him a second to catch it and get the nut on, but Keaston got her back on and got him back out there. Lost a little bit of track position, but kept him in the race. So
where did the 2-car end up?
2-car ended up top 10. They were like plus 20 something. Selfishly, I want to win Atlanta. I've never won a race at Atlanta. But we maximized points on the day. Joe, the 2-car got great stage points. And as a team, right, trying to advance our 3 cars and Harrison, since the 22 didn't get a ton of stage points, didn't have a ton of points piled up from the regular season, for him to win and lock in as a Penske group, that's probably the best scenario. Both your cars get great amount of stage points, and the one who didn't wins the race.
Yeah, that's right.
So 20, for a long time, people have just, I think we saw it with Toyota a little bit, just right off super speedways. It's going to be a wreck fest. We'll just get through it. Well, now
they pay money and points for those
it's
two.
20% of the playoffs. 20%, 2 out of the 10 races. So you have to be good.
Yep.
One guy that was good, get my dog of the week. Jeremy Ogles, as we've seen, is week to week, a veteran tire changer on the 22. So Drew Baum filled in for him.
Okay.
Drew Baum is like the super
injured?
stub. Jeremy has a slight injury, where he'll be back. He might even be back this week, but he had to sit out a week or 2. He's never missed a race.
Ever. Dog.
And he sat out this week. And Drew Baum, who is the carrier on the 38 car, usually, he came in. He's like the super sub. Trevor Apsey got hurt a couple of years ago. He came in for the All-Star race. We won the All-Star race. He came in for the first round of the playoffs with Logano this week. they go ahead and win Atlanta. So great job to Drew Baum, dog of the week. 22 tire carrier. And just an all-around great guy. So stoked for him, stoked for the 22. And that is our
the dog.
NASCAR playoffs are here, and so is two-time champ Kyle Busch.
If you don't like that kind of racing, don't even watch.
Join Kyle and the gang for the Insider's take on the title. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV.
Moving on.
We got some Penny for your thoughts, questions.
Let me
What do
read
we
them.
got?
First one. How is Corey getting ready for the Glen? Sim, GoPro, Motorplex, road course, coach?
Well, generally I would do the simulator, the driver in the loop motion simulator, as they call it. I do that on Thursdays, but now the playoffs have started. Our session has gotten gobbled up by the playoff drivers. So they got moved to the slot that nobody wanted on Monday, which happened to be right on top of the time we're talking about this right now, and Larson came in. So I chose to record this podcast instead of do simulator, but I feel good about my speed for Watkins Glen. Generally do simulator on Thursdays, but I'll get the old shifter cart fired up too. I was out there this past week doing the old nut and bolt and cleaning it up, so I'll probably hit that up later this week just to get the right and left juices flowing.
Back to Atlanta, Vegas. Jeff asks, are you surprised how different the track is now that it's worn?
It's not that much different, but
the racing
she's racy.
Different.
Yeah, she's racy, buddy. I wonder how long, or if ever, they go back to the intermediate package for Atlanta.
Why would you? It's been pretty good.
That was pretty exciting. When I was, well, I don't know about exciting. When I was middle 3 wide, about 4 rows deep, I'm like, oh boy. I hope the fans are enjoying this because this is wild.
I think it needs one date. I like
All
it.
right. Well,
I like it, but I think it needs one date.
I think one date in a night race too.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Last question from Cat K4603. What are the G-forces like driving around a track like Atlanta?
I don't know. My neck says that they were more than usual. My left side of my neck is pretty sore.
Need some headrest foam.
No, it was dialed in. I just think it's probably 1.7 to 2.1, I'd imagine. Unless you hit something really hard like Kyle Larson did, and then it's 43. G-forces there at Atlanta are more than any other track that we go to.
Heck yeah.
Bristol also is another track you see a lot of high G-forces.
Dover?
I think. Yeah, Dover maybe. No, Bristol's still more because the radius of the corner is tighter.
Well, you don't get a break at Bristol.
When I drove the modified at Bristol and stuffed it in the fence prior to that, it was the only place that I've had a tear come out of my left eye, across the bridge of my nose, into my right eye, and out. That's how fast you're hauling ass in a modified at Bristol.
Wow.
I was like,
which is where the great Randy LaJoy quote, "Something broke." Yeah, traction came from. That's he said that earlier about Kyle this weekend too. Penny stackers of the week.
Several. The first one came in from you though.
Oh, Susan and Ron from Auburn. They came over to the 12 pit box. They said they've met you a couple times.
Yep.
They were good to talk to you. They said we've never been. They didn't ask to be penny stackers, but they said we listen to the show. We've never been mentioned. So I said,
they know the deal.
They knew what they were doing.
Shout out
and I had
Susan
a
and Ron.
lot of people just talking about stacking pennies this week. A lot of penny stackers.
I mean, apparently, from some other podcasts, we asked for people to listen a lot, which is fine because I like when people listen.
Oh, John Wood hammered me on Door Bumper Clear.
It was great.
That's okay. I'll get John back on the airplane. Dude.
I think he was salty that we've never asked him to be on the podcast.
I wouldn't ask him to be on the podcast.
He was hilarious, though.
He's hilarious. He is awesome.
Yeah.
But he says some out-of-pocket that I will not have the blood on my hands when he says that stuff. One thing
he
that
is not scared to say some stuff.
We had
it was like it was the first. I've maybe listened to like 4 minutes of that podcast. I listened to all of John Wood. It was great.
John Wood's good. The other guys do good too. I love Freddie.
They do. They do.
Brett is okay, and TJ was just salty. TJ's really mad about the cool shirt deal.
That's fine.
Which I'd be mad at myself if I wore a cool shirt up there spotting too. Dude, but John, we have.
I will say this. I went up there with Stefan at Daytona for the Xfinity race, and it was like the sun was going down.
If you defend that cool shirt, I'm leaving.
I could see how a lesser of a man would want for some sun protection. Now, there are guys, though, who don't wear hats. Stefan's one.
You seen his hair? He's working on it.
He has a large head. I don't.
He's got great hair.
He does have great hair. I wouldn't cover it up either.
Keep going with your talk. Got this.
It's a hard job, man. It's a hard job standing there.
You literally just stand there and talk.
The roof is a bizarre place right now. Guys have chargers, extension cords running with. They have like their phones set up, iPads.
It's hard. When I look at what
they
Coleman
have
Presley does,
radios and cords and talking to this. They got a radar, antennas.
It's not an easy job.
It takes them an hour to break down.
Well, SMT, you know, the good spotters are really good with SMT.
Yeah, and
they can help. They're they get to see everything. They're the ones that get to see everything that's going on.
Yeah,
and I think Coleman Presley. Obviously, I see his preparation. I think he does it as good, or if not better, than anybody. And just the amount of work. I mean, he's a racer, right?
Yeah.
So
he knows
childhood was spent making his race car better than other people's.
That's right.
So yeah,
there's still some more penny stackers. I'll hang on before we digress. One of my favorite things to do on the weekend, especially when the family's there, is just jump in the golf cart and just cruise around the campgrounds. I love some race fan redneck ingenuity on some of the stuff I see with race fan, like flags and like pallets and these rigs on top of school buses from the 50s. Makes me happy. Makes me happy to see it. And occasionally you'll run up on somebody with a Corey the Joy flag. Not many, but there are some. So I had the family with me. It was like getting dark, not quite dark yet. We cruised around up against, in between turn 3 and 4, and there was a Corey flag underneath an American flag. And you'd have thought the damn president was real.
The world's okayest racing driver showed up?
He thinks that I'm the greatest thing that's ever strapped my ass into a car before. He had a shirt. Actually, he didn't have a shirt at the time when I walked up. He put a shirt on after because he was just,
He had Kyle Larson shirt on. He switched out real quick.
Hold on. No, he had no shirt. He had a LaJoy hat on, no shirt. Put his shirt that was hanging on the back of a chair, LaJoy shirt on. My man was Jake from Alpharetta. So freaking pumped up to meet me and the fam. So shout out to him.
Oh, dude, I saw our buddy Ray.
And then hang on. So I knew where he was, right? So on the ride arounds, we're in the back of the truck, and he had the flagpole, like Mel Gibson, with the American flag and the Corey flag waving. Let's go.
You can take his ride, but you'll never take this flag from me. Our buddy Ray Fataruso competed in New Jersey big New Jersey Open Jiu-Jitsu competition, and he finished second. I saw his picture on the podium, had a 7 hat on.
Let's freaking go.
So yeah.
One more. So Saturday night, I let the wife go to dinner with the baby, and
by herself?
No, Julie Malden.
Oh, okay.
So I had the kids, got them their PJs. My buddy was there. Brandon was barbecuing for the team, and another guy, William. So we jumped in the golf cart. It was like 8 o'clock, and now it's dark, and we were just cruising. Now we went outside. We want to see the trenches.
Yeah.
The fellas in the tent, the dedicated ones that are there for the pure love of NASCAR. So we're cruising around, and people got string lights. People watching college football, having a grand old time. So we cruise around, and we're way out there, way by the main road, way out there. Cruise around, and there's a tent with 15, 20 people in it. We cruise by, and there's birthday cake on the table. And they're all gathered around, and we showed up the second they started singing happy birthday. So naturally, whip it in there, and we start singing happy birthday. We join in. They all look at us like we're who the hell are these guys? We sing happy birthday to this lady. One person recognized me, and then all of them bringing T-shirts out. I signed 70 things when I was there. This woman whose birthday it was couldn't have been happier. She gave Levi and Jensen a piece of cake They were loving it.
Was it Friday or Saturday?
It was Saturday night.
Oh, we almost shared birthdays.
No. Come to find out, her birthday was the same as mine, September 25th.
Oh, let's go.
They were celebrating early because she wanted to go to the racetrack for her birthday. So they chose Atlanta. We roll up on her, sing happy birthday. The next morning, she's like, I'm your biggest fan now. Everybody in the whole tent was Kyle Larson fan. So at least I turned one of them. I did my merchandise.
So they'll be watching.
Yeah, they'll watch. And they'll be like, he was okay. Not a very good
They might not make it this far in the show, but.
Probably not. So I did my merch. We went to the merch trailer and signed some autographs. The next morning, there was people standing in line for a long time for those. She was the first one in line.
Let's go.
Bought several hats, several shirts. Honestly, I don't even remember her name. I don't think I even asked her name, but the birthday lady. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday a couple days early.
A couple weeks early. That was a good time to go out there with the fans, and appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate you watching.
Jimmie Johnson had a good time. He won Goodwood. I don't know what.
It's just like a real rich guy thing that you go drive these old cars.
Wear them hats and smoke a cigar.
Yeah. Now, I saw an article on Newsweek that he wrecked one. So that this car is valued roughly at $2.5 million, and he's out there just right-hand driving, banging gears, giving guys with probably another $2.5 million car donuts.
No, I don't think they race against each other, do they?
Yeah, I saw a video.
They race side by side?
Oh yeah.
He ran into somebody?
Well, the video I watched was in-car camera as well as maybe as a GoPro man on the outside. If he drove by like 7 of them in the first.
Remember that time you crashed Jimmie Johnson?
Which time? There's been a couple of them.
Oh
no. So he won. So there's the Goodwood Festival, right? The guy's driveway that we've all seen those videos. But then there's like another racetrack too. So
okay, that's what I thought it was, the guy's driveway.
No. Yeah, so this was the one that was a track.
Oh, cool.
So Jimmie Johnson's still getting some dubs.
Yep, Austin Hill wins the Xfinity race. Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
What else is there?
That's it, man.
Besides,
I went to the beach this weekend. It was fun.
Yeah. It was your birthday on Friday, too.
It was my birthday on
Happy
Friday.
birthday.
We went to Wrightsville Beach and looked for shark teeth. We had a good time.
Did you find any?
We're really into that right now.
Did you find a megalodon?
Yes, I found it. I didn't find a megalodon tooth. I found 2 shark teeth.
Were they babies?
It's hard to find, but like that's where you know the deal. You just really kind of get into what your kids like, and somehow like I've been really into like there's this guy, Fishing Garrett, who like walks out into the Amazon barefoot and like smacks crocodiles on the head and like catches anacondas barehanded. He's like real crazy. And then there's 2. I didn't realize North Carolina.
Is this a guy on YouTube?
No, he's on Instagram. In North Carolina is like a real big hotbed for fossils.
Okay.
So like there's a couple guys like NC Diggins, and there's a couple of them that are really good. I think there's another one's called like Endless Search, but they go and find like cool. We went to a coffee shop that had like megalodon teeth like this big in it.
Whoa.
And then they find like cool Civil War stuff and like all sorts of really cool. They even find stuff from like the Revolutionary War.
Well,
so it's. I
like
know.
history.
If I wasn't doing this and I was smarter, which I'm not, I would be an archaeologist. But dude, let me tell you about something real quick. Last night, get on the airplane.
Could you be a scientist that studies wasps and tell me why one stung my hand last week?
Dude, where?
Right on my knuckle. So we were back there. Hang on, you had a good story, but I'm gonna pause.
No, you tell me about the Wasp.
Because I have a NextGen chassis, I'm gonna make like a rat rod modified that looks like
this is your grind your gears.
Yeah, this is my grind my gears. I have a 37 Ford sedan body. I'm gonna put on make it work and put it on a NextGen chassis and make like a track car that looks like my grandfather's modified. Stay tuned for the content on that in the next 10 years when I have time to do it. But I'm back there measuring some stuff. Apparently there's a wasp's nest inside this car, and I'm trying to measure roof like door top height relative to the roof height, and I got my hand in there measuring some stuff. Next thing I know, a big son of a like the size of this violin is sitting there, and I just watched the slow motion and it hurt, bro. And I'm like, so now there's like 3 of us back there. I wish we had a camera back there because it was hilarious. Now somebody's got to go. He drew.
So he stung you and stayed around,
flying around.
He's
like,
ready
come
to fight.
get it. Yeah, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. And I was like this, like I wasn't leaving until I got his ass or he got mine, one of the two. And he flew
got
around.
you.
He got me already.
He didn't really have. That's his
He
only
won the
form
battle.
of defense.
He won the battle, but he did not win the war.
You
So
got
after
him.
about 5 or 6 missed whiffs of trying to smack him, I got him. And he's dead now.
He's dead.
That hurt, though.
Pete is coming for your ass.
Yeah, right there it is.
Oh, did you have to pick the stinger out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, play the violin.
For my hand. My
Let me give you a happy story.
I had like a hydrocore, like I had like stuff on it. It was traumatizing. It really was. And then I raced through it.
Oh, thank God you were able to pull through.
Yeah, I raced through it.
We went.
That's how bad I want it.
Dude, I got to tell you about this game. I can't download it because I'll be addicted. But I'm sitting on the plane yesterday, and
People
I'm
stopped
looking out the
listening 15
window.
minutes ago.
Yeah, people aren't listening anymore. But if they are, you're about to get a nugget and a half. I'm sitting there looking out the window, and here comes Sean, Alpha Vision Sean, who's a producer, or I don't know what he'd call himself for the show. Big part of the show here. And he's walking up, and I'm like, oh, Sean's here. And then all of a sudden, he's on the plane. He's sitting next to me. And we're both making fun of everybody. That's the plane rides are the most fun. That's why John Wood's so mean to me, because we just terrorize him on the plane. But he started playing this game called Drafty Car. You ever played that?
No.
Bro. So we are legitimately couldn't win. And then he finally, so you're basically just drafting. It's like 4 lanes, and you have to pick the right lane, drag brake, and then you can get wrecked.
Okay.
And you keep going. It's 3 laps.
Okay.
You're going to try it after this, and you're going to be addicted. But he won finally with like 10 minutes in the flight.
What kind of cars are they?
Cup cars.
Okay.
And he won with like 10 minutes left. You're going to love this game. Anybody that races, I'm sorry. Anybody that's in the racing, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry you're going to be addicted to this game. But we are so invested in this game. We're going back and forth. I'm running a race. He's running a race. And he finally won one. And we're like, yes, yeah. Everybody on the plane's like, well, we're like screaming, getting excited. It was so much fun. So, yeah. I didn't even know Sean was at the track yesterday. It was a pleasant surprise to get to hang out with him on the flight home.
Yeah.
So that was it. We were already pumped up because Joey won. He was there videoing for Joey.
Yep.
And we won a drafty car race.
It's a big deal.
Win.
2 dubs on the day.
Big day. Big points day for the boys on the 12 car. Let's go to Watkins Glen.
Big show for the fellas here on Stacking Pennies as well. We snagged 2021 Cup champ Kyle Larson right here in studio to talk about his endeavors and his playoff run. We just try to give you guys the best content we possibly can each and every week. That's why you need to continue to tune into @_Stacking Pennies for the Arctic Ice Cold giveaway, or just tune in to YouTube on Wednesdays for this show, or tune in to Sirius XM Channel 90 or on the SXM app. Where else? Where you find your podcast. And then also while you're there, just rate, review, do the things. Listen to Spare Change on Thursdays. Talk about the Watkins Glen and, all the things. That's all I got. Have a great week, guys. Goodbye.